Thank you so much for being back here again in Detroit. It is such an honor and as we say, treat to hear you perform and to see you in such an intimate setting. What goes on as you prepare for the show? What's behind your thinking and programming for a concert of this nature?
It really, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. A lot of times people do ask, like, how do you choose what you're going to play? And whether it be a recital like this, where I by myself the whole time, or if it's with an orchestra somewhere, right? When you're with an orchestra, usually the piano is a very solo, by-yourself instrument. So even when you're with an orchestra, you're kind of out front doing your own thing, and the orchestra is accompanying you. And it really depends. So for an orchestra concert, for example, there might, in some cases, the orchestra will reach out and say, Charlie, can you play this piece or this piece? We were trying to program it in our season and align it with all the other, 6 or 10 or 20 or however many concerts they're giving that year. Also considering what they've played last year and the year after is already scheduled, things like that. Other times they'll say, Charlie, we want you to come play. What do you want to play? And then I get to just choose, and that's always fun too. I prefer that way. In terms of for solo stuff, it really depends. In the past, sometimes there's certain series that are doing a theme of some kind, where it's for example, I played at WQXR in New York once as part of a Chopin marathon, and obviously I can't play Gershwin in a Chopin marathon. That would defeat the purpose. But other times I can really do what I want. So in a case like this, I consider what I've been playing recently, what I'm going to be playing, upcoming, and try to make out a program that gives a variety, but is also fun and something that I enjoy playing as well. Yeah.
Thank you for that explanation. Let's talk about your take on classical music. You make classical music accessible for everyone. You take up the rules, ball them up, throw them out the window, and you welcome everyone. Why is making classical music accessible for everyone so important to you?
I mean, I think that there's just no reason that it shouldn't be a little bit more casual in some cases. If someone wants, there are still people and that disagree with me, and I've received some pushback and some about the whole clapping between a movement or something, and I understand that point of view as well. But my opinion is that if you want a purely perfect listening environment, you want an absolute perfect rendition, of a piece of music. There's thousands of recordings of every single piece ever written that were spliced together, so every wrong note was fixed, every dynamic was subtly changed just the perfect amount, and there's thousands of edits in it, and of course there's zero coughing, but that's very different than a concert environment. I think a concert environment is an experience. It's like we're all here. We could all just turn on Spotify and listen to any of those things that I play. Not what I'm playing next. You can't find that on Spotify. But all the written down pieces. There's thousands of recordings of all of the Moonlight Sonata, for example, where you can listen to it perfectly. But why do people still want to go out and experience things in person? Because there's that human aspect. It's live, it's fun. You never know what's going to happen. At the third movement of the Moonlight, I could have just crashed and burned there, and that would have been exciting too. But it would have been real. It would have been a human thing. It can happen. The expression, blank happens. It does sometimes happen. But it keeps it real. And so I think bringing back that human component makes it more accessible, just because people can relate. Music isn't it's not something that was created in a laboratory. It's something that reflects, that desperation, that joy, that, all of those human emotions that we all feel.
Well, I appreciate you bringing the humanity into the music, inviting the audience to be a part of the experience and to kind of let go of some of the rules, quote unquote, and just enjoy their time together. We touched base earlier. You talked about learning jazz for the first few or so years of your piano studies. How did your jazz training impact you as an artist?
That's a good question. So I took from a jazz teacher for only about a year. Before then, I was taking my first Well, my mom taught me I started when I was 3.5, climbed up and played Twinkle Little Star on a garage sale piano. It was missing, I think, a few keys. My dad, I think, picked it up for $20 on someone's front lawn. Where the best instruments are always found. I picked out Twinkle Little Star, and my mom saw that I had a knack for it, and she taught me the little that she knew for a few months. And then my first real teacher was this lady who lived a block away, who was about 87, who played the organ and a little bit of the piano. And she taught me. And then another very influential teacher was this lady who owned this piano and organ store in Centralia. And she would play the organ, I'd play the piano, and she taught me everything from Great Balls of Fire by ear to, we played Disney songs, and then we'd switch it up and then improv, and it was always making stuff up. And so that was very influential too, especially in something like that what I'm gonna play next, which I've never played before and couldn't play again afterward.
That's gonna be incredible. I'm looking forward to that. So I've asked a few questions, found out about your process for programming, whether it's on a large scale for an orchestra or when you get to pick your own music for instances such as this, your thoughts on classical music and how your training and learning by ear in jazz have impacted who you are as an artist today. You think we can jump out into the audience and maybe I'll get a few questions from the audience members?
Sure, absolutely.
So we're going to keep it quick because we want to definitely get back into the music. Be mindful of the questions that you ask, please and thank you. Think about it. Put those thinking caps on. Put the tasteful cap on and think about it. All right, I have one right here. I'm going to come out here.